Well, I have to admit, some of the things we've worked on over the last few years are a bit esoteric. You might even argue they were marginal. But things have changed in the world. Given the change in the political landscape, the change in the economic landscape, I think the future for us is one where the things we've invested in when no one was interested become much more normative and become a center of concern for the vast majority of Jews in America. So for example, for a long time, for more than a decade, we've been building the infrastructure to do community investing. We help lend money in low-income communities through credit unions and community development financial institutions. And the truth is, a year ago, if I said, are you interested in an asset building strategy in low-income communities? Are you concerned about interest rates? Are you concerned about getting credit to small business people? People would have said, I want to talk to you about charity. Why are you talking to me about lending? But with the crisis in banking, we've seen that what was a marginal interest is now quite a mainstream interest. And I believe the demand for that product, for the ability to make loans out of your asset base, invest in small business people who are trying to rebuild their communities one business at a time, will grow dramatically in the years to come. We also for years have been a grant maker who funded in very low-income communities and small projects, small city-based, regionally based, maybe state-level initiatives. But if we won something, like after we funded a healthcare reform campaign in Massachusetts that succeeded 3 years ago, we could then think, well, we worked in Massachusetts, maybe we could do it in Wisconsin. But it never was going to get to much scale. That was always the critique. But things changed. We now have a White House that it calls us and says, what kind of innovations do you know about in healthcare, economic stimulus, green jobs, education? And we're the people with 2 decades of experience funding those very things in communities around the country. And so finally, where it seemed there was no scalability, there's now the opportunity to say, we won a new piece of green jobs legislation in Los Angeles, and now we can take it to the White House and see if it could go national. So I think the scalability of our grants will also define the next couple of years. And then finally, we've worked really hard the last 3 years to build a service learning component. When we started, people kind of looked at me like, you want to do what? You want to take young Jews for a week to volunteer in a low-income community, make a difference in people's lives, and learn about being Jewish? So that's kind of esoteric, and that's probably why we only took 25 people the first year. But last year we took almost 300 people. This year we'll take 500 people. And I believe with Michelle Obama and Barack Obama's call to service, what we'll see in the next 5 years is service becoming a normative part of American life for a generation that's already really committed to serving. And my hope is that the Jewish Funds for Justice and our allies will be part of making service for every high school graduate, whether it's part of your spring break experience, your summer after high school, or a year before you go to college, a normative piece of Jewish behavior. And so lending, local grant making, and community service, 3 things that we've said were priorities. We built the infrastructure, we became leaders in the field, but they were still a bit marginal. I think when we look into the future, these are things that will define American life and also Jewish life, and my hope is that the Jewish Funds for Justice will be at the center of it.